Welcome back. This is part 2 of the 10 best reggae amps series. Okay, so this is part 2. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm not going to waste any time. So the next amp that we're going to look at is the Mesa Boogie Express 550. I went into a guitar shop and I tried this amp out ages ago, and I have to say I was mightily impressed. It is really a fantastic amp. Amazing clean tone. It's not like a Fenderish clean tone. It has its own unique voicing. I don't know how Mesa Boogie pulled that one off, but the clean tone is to die for. It's really glossy, gorgeous and warm. It's a very expensive amp, so be prepared to spend some money if you're going to go after this one. It's very versatile, and the reason I say that is because it has 2 channels, and each of the channels has independent equalizer. And I think there's sort of like an output equalizer, an extra equalizer that you can still use to shape the tone. And if you look at the amp very carefully, you can see the graphic equalizer at the end there, and the other 2 equalizer for each channel. So it's a fantastic amp. You get a nice valve tone, but remember, it's high maintenance because of the valve, so you have to take care of it. It is loud as well. So that's the Mesa Boogie Express 550. It's an amp I tried out, and it's a very good amp. Very good amp. So if you're sort of like in the reggae rock sort of genre, it is something to look into, as it's a very good amp, but very expensive. All right, the second one here, or should I say the 7th one, that is the Fender Blues Deville 212. This is the actual amp that got me into playing Fender amps, believe it or not. One of my friend, a guitarist friend of mine, had one, and I heard him play that thing, and I was mightily impressed. So impressed that I went to the guitar shop and asked them if they had one in, because I really wanted to try it, and they didn't, unfortunately. I did walk away with I think it was the 410 version, and I had problems with it because it kept the heat sink kept overheating and sort of like melting the soldering, and I had to take it back, and I got a second one and it did the same thing. So in the end I didn't trust them anymore, so I went and I got something else. So there is a bit of a quality control, I think. I don't know if Fender has improved. They might have actually improved since then, so I didn't go for the 410 version. I think the 212 version is probably a better call, in my opinion. So, you know, obviously great Fender clean tones. It's not too expensive, it's very heavy, and it's loud because it's a 6 watts valve amp. It's easy to use, but it's high maintenance because you have to take care of it and to make sure that the valves don't go bad. Yeah, so that's the Fender Blues Deville 212. A really nice amp. If you're in the market for that sort of sound, look into it. And it's not that expensive valve amp, and you can get a nice clean tone out of it. This is the Fender Rod Deluxe. This is the one that I have. Very good clean tone. It's relatively cheap, at least when I bought mine anyway. Like I said before, quality control issues, because my reverb is somewhat temperamental. There are a few things I had to change in it. I did change the speaker, and I did change the valves in it at one point. I can't remember exactly what speaker I changed it for and what valves I was using at the time. I can't remember exactly. It's loud, but when you turn it up too much, it does break up a bit. So be a bit mindful if you're not mic'd up and you have to turn it up very loud. There is the maintenance issue as well. You have to be able to change the valves if they break down, and because they can go microphonic as well. So keep that in mind. But it's a relatively cheap amp, and it gives you a very good, you know, reggae, jazz, R&B, gospelish kind of tone. Yeah, so if you're in the market for that, do pick one up, and you can have them on the used market for cheap as well. This is the Mrshall Bluesbreaker. This amp, I've reggae guys back in the day used to play them. I wouldn't say it's the best amp for reggae, but you can get a decent clean tone out of it. Also a very good lead tone. It breaks up very early when you turn it up. It's not very versatile, it's expensive, and it's high maintenance as well. But you know, reggae guys, you know what they like, they'll play it anyway, it doesn't matter. So if you're in the market and you can find one relatively inexpensive, then yeah, by all means go ahead and get it. You know, at least you can play some blues with it and some reggae as well. All right, so that's the Mrshall Bluesbreaker. The Mrshall MF350 is the other one. Now this amp is actually quite interesting because it's brutally loud. Yeah, it is so loud and so versatile. I heard one of my favorite reggae guitarists playing on stage, Andrew Simpson, with Morgan Heritage, and the tones that he was getting was unbelievable. The clean tone was fantastic, and the drive channel and the distortions that he was getting was, and I kept thinking to myself, what amp was he using? And I researched and I found out it was actually the Mrshall MF350, which is quite interesting because reggae guitarists don't normally use you know, these kinds of amp, I have to say, but this one in particular is actually a beast. And the thing about it as well, you could it almost as if it has 4 channels. It has amp 1 and amp 2, and each amp give you like amp 1 give you a crunch and a clean setting, and amp 2 give you 2 different distortion settings, and you know, you have sort of like individual EQs for each of them, which is really fantastic. This amp is a really good amp. I wanted to pick one up ages ago, but I could not get my hand on one of them. They're brutally loud, great for reggae and rock, difficult to get. Like I said, it's not that expensive either, and it's versatile and it's low maintenance. I think the preamp is solid state, but the power amp has a valve in it. I think it's ECC8. I can't remember exactly what valve is in there, but you have that nice valve tone as well to it, and it's a head, so you'll have to get a cab obviously, but it's a fantastic amp. If you can get your hand on one of them, get it. Yeah, it's really loud and it's really good. It will give you a nice clean tone. All right, so that's the Mrshall MF350. That is pretty much it for the main 10 amps, the 10 best reggae amps, but there might be a few others that you might be interested in. Certainly, you know, especially solid state. We've got the Peavey Bandit. I have the Bandit 75. I think it's the 90s or late 80s version, which is, I think, is really good. It takes pedals really well, multi-effects pedals really well. So if you can find one of those, the older version, get one. The newer version is good also, but I prefer the older one. The Roland Cubes, the new and the old versions are very good. I had an old version Roland Cube and I quite liked it. They've got the newer versions, which they're sort of like in the 80 watt, I think they come out at. Those ones are very good, and they've got an even newer version which have this what they call sort of like a tubish technology, so a modeling kind of tube thing, but the preamp and everything else is solid state, so that's worth looking into as well. And this is we've got the Fender Mustangs as well. Those are very good. I tried those and they sounded all right if you like the Fender sort of tone, and they're very light as well. The Boss Katana is also very good. Those get a lot of good reviews. The Mrshall Code is also good, and the Line 6 Spider. I didn't really like previous versions of the Line 6 Spider, but Line 6 is now owned by Yamaha, so I think they will improve, so those are worth checking out as well. Okay, now there are loads of amps out there, you know, and anyone from this list will suit you very well for reggae. Yeah, so go out there, get the one that you like and just get stuck in. All right, I think that's it. Do remember to like, subscribe and share. All right, take care. Bye.